All right, guys, we is live. I'm gonna go ahead and go over this. This is gonna be saved as a video anyway. You can comment in the chats, or you can place a comment underneath the video. All right, so flyers. This conversation is about putting out flyers. This morning, I just want to say I've been doing flyers since 1996. I started doing flyers for a pizza company, delivering pizza, one of the largest pizza companies in the country. Just to let you know, those two were competing, and they both were competing on flyers and door hangers. So, what do you have to know to deliver flyers? There's a couple things you need to know to deliver flyers to make flyers work. It depends on the type of business you're in, but there's a couple things you need to know. The first thing you need to know about delivering flyers is you need to know how to count to three. If you can't count to three, then you're not going to be able to successfully deliver flyers. This country, United States of America, is built on the number three. If you cannot count to three, it's going to make it hard for you to do business. And what I mean by count to three, I mean by noticing the three count. So, for example, if you're driving down the road and it's a 55 mile per hour road, speed limit sign, and you're doing 60 and the cop pulls you over to give you a ticket, the question is, were you speeding? Most people believe they were speeding. In America, there are three elements to a crime. Just because you were doing 60 and a 55 does not mean that you were speeding. The problem is you can't count. The other thing in business, I'll give you another example, trademarks. There are three things that make up a trademark. One of those things is it needs to be distinctive. The other thing, it needs to be used in commerce. And the other one, it must identify and distinguish your goods. If you're not aware of those things and you don't know how to count or find that count, you're going to have a problem in America. The other thing is franchises. If you are operating a franchise, there are three things that make up a franchise. You need to be able to figure that out. On flyers, when you build a flyer, first you can learn about copywriting and all that as you go along. But when you build a flyer, you're building it on the count of three. All right, you're going to put three offers on the flyer. So if you ever watch the news tells the public to go get three estimates. You're creating three estimates by putting three offers on a flyer. It doesn't matter if you're a restaurant. It doesn't matter if you're a service business. You're going to put three different offers on there. So if you're a power wash business, you're going to have a house wash. You're going to have as one package. The next package is going to be the house wash in the driveway. Next package could be the roof, the house, and the driveway. So you're going to have three packages on the flyer so that you're giving your customer something to choose from. Okay? That's how you build a flyer. And you can learn copyright over time. If you are a restaurant, you should be able to reach at least 100 new customers in the weekend. And if your flyer, if your average ticket is $45, you can make $5,000 in the weekend. The goal for a restaurant is to deliver all your flyers by Wednesday. If everybody is going to get paid, let's say on Friday, then that week, then you want to make sure all your flyers are in the hand of your customers by Wednesday, in order to have a successful weekend and make an extra $5,000 for your business. And that leads me into the other thing. Not everybody gets paid on the same week, and not everybody gets paid on the same day. So in your market, you need to verify when is the payday for most of your clients, and you want to put out your flyers the week that everyone gets paid and prior to that payday. The next question is, how many flyers? Well, the minimum amount of flyers that you're going to put out is 10,000. Now, a restaurant, you can get away with 5, but you want to put out 10,000 flyers minimum. All right, 10,000 flyers, 1% of 10,000 flyers is 100 customers. The question isn't whether or not you can put out, is whether or not you can put out the flyers. The question is, can you handle the extra business? Everybody asks for it. When we used to do flyers in the pizza business, it would push us over 100 pie hour. All right, so that evening on that Friday, we would go into over 100 pie hour. You have to be able to produce them 100 pizza pies per hour, and that's not an easy thing to do. The other thing is, you're going to be going into homes, you're going to be going into apartments, you're going to be going into townhomes, and each of those deliver different. It's easy to deliver to apartments and townhomes. Those are easy. What's hard to deliver to is homes. Now, when it comes to homes, it's 100 doors per an hour. That's the math on it. So if you got 10,000 flyers, you can do the math. It's 100 doors per hour. You have to be mentally strong to put out flyers. You have to be mentally strong, because you're going to have to, especially if you're starting out in the beginning, you're going to be the one that puts out those flyers and walk those doors. So we're talking about 600 to 1,000 doors a day. When you start out by yourself, you're going to want to switch to running your company like an SEO, and you're going to want to hire at least day labor to put out these flyers. If you hire 5 to 7 people, you should be able to drop 10,000 flyers in 3 days. All right. That's what we started doing in the pizza business. Started hiring a guy in the DC market that had a team, and they would go out and put these flyers out. So that's what you would need to do. You would need to hire a team. Now, once you hire that team, you can actually, if you have a restaurant or a business, you can actually have your employees do something that's called clip flyers. All right, these thick flyers, and you put binder clips on them, and you bundle them all into baskets or containers, and you deliver the flyers that way. That's the quickest way to do it by yourself. It's called clip flyers. There is somebody on YouTube that does that, built $1 million business, all right, out in Florida. So clip flyers. And obviously, again, it's about what's on your material, copyright. But copyrights, that's something that you can learn over time. If you're not willing to put out 10,000 flyers or more, you're really going to need to push it up to 20,000. We're talking about 10,000 flyers a month. All right. You really need to push it to 20 if you can get it to 20,000 or more per month. In most areas, you have enough to reach that many people. So that is the basics of putting out flyers. You have to be able to count to 3, and you have to be able to get out a bunch of flyers. The last thing I would say about putting out flyers, why most businesses don't put out flyers, is because your phone's going to ring. The rule to this business is you're to be seen, not to be liked. I'm going to say that again. The rule to putting out these flyers in business is to be seen. It's not to be liked. Y'all might not like Donald Trump, but everybody know Donald Trump, okay? It's to be seen. It's not to be liked, okay? So what does that mean? That means you need yeses and you need nos. The no's are always going to be louder than the yeses. If you're not mentally strong, you're going to be pounded by the no's. The no's they're going to be ruthless. One of my tricks to putting out flyers or business cards, because if you're starting out small and you don't have no money, you can put out 10,000 business cards, because you can get 10,000 business cards from Vistaprint. I checked the other day, you can get 10,000 business cards for $279. All right, $279. Start putting them out yourself. Make a goal, 600 to 1,000 flyers a day. The next day, you're gonna be sore when you get up in the morning, but by the time you start getting rolling again, you'll be all right. All right, so you got to be mentally strong. Now, I like to get paid from my nose. All right, so how do I get paid from my nose? How do they reward me? I don't put phone numbers on my marketing material. Anything that I put out that's going to be in the flyer format and mass quantity, I don't put a phone number. What I put is the website. In order for, since the no's are higher in concentration of contacting you, you want to put a .com, and they're going to reward you by going to the .com. Whether they type it all the way in or they go to the search engine and then they have to search your site to get to your phone number, you're getting rewarded. You're getting live clicks for that website you built that ain't got no activity. Now you're going to get activities from the nose. Be happy that they're calling you and cussing you out and telling you, don't put this on my door no more. And that's the other thing. When you're putting out flyers and you're going door to door, if you're not doing clip flyers or you're putting out business cards, you want to stick them. I don't have what I use, but you want to stick them to the glass, to the lock, or to the door handle. Now, there's a reason for that. One, so you don't get that call when you damage something. The glass is the number one. Number two is the lock or the door handle. And what's the reason that, another reason that you want that done? You want that done because they have to put it in their hand. If you stick it in the door jamb like a lot of people like to do, or you put it on a door handle like you do door hangers, they fall off. And when they fall on the ground, people don't like to pick them up, and then the HOA or whatever is going to contact you. So what you want to do is you want to stick it to the doors, or you want to stick it on the locks, the glass, and that's going to force them to put that in your hand. Now, when you're starting out new, what you're going to do is you're going to, man, I lost my train of thought that quickly. But what you're going to do is make your flyers simply to have them put it in the kitchen drawer. Some people have boxes. You want them to keep your flyer. The thing about this is you're beating your competition, because online you're not seen. You're hoping to be seen. You're hoping somebody opens up that doorway where you're located and they find your business. This way you're in the home. If they need that particular service, they know to go to the junk drawer, or they know to go to the little box or cubby cabinet and find your literature. The next thing is you need some kind of icon, logo, image, and color scheme. And the reason why you need the color scheme and the icon is because people aren't going to remember your name. People tell you this all the time. Your name is not important. What's important is your service. But you don't know how many times I have spoken with people who have went back, who have had my material, and the only way they found it was by my color scheme. They remembered the color scheme. That's why businesses don't copy each other. If you look in a junk removal business, you got orange, you got blue, you got gold, you got green, you got all these different colors, because it's identity. You want to make sure that you have your own identity, so if they lose that flyer or that business card, they can still find you. Anyway, if you have any questions concerning putting out flyers, go ahead and leave those questions in the comment. This video should be up soon.